ever wondered whether you're just feeling sad or if it's truly depression? I've got you covered in today's video. Hey, I'm Mallory. I'm a teen therapist and I love making mental health videos like this just for teens. So today I'm going to be sharing with you what the difference is between sadness and depression, because let's be real, it can get a little confusing. Before I get too into it, I just want to make sure that you are not self-diagnosing yourself. If you are going through this video and you're finding yourself nodding along and you're not linked with a mental health professional, please reach out and get an assessment, because we'll be happy to tell you if it's depression or if it's something else and what you can do to help yourself. So sadness and depression are both emotional experiences that we all have experienced. Just because you have sadness or a depressed mood does not mean that you have depression. It's just one indicator or symptom. So let's get into what the difference is between the two. Sadness is the emotional experience of unhappiness. It's usually caused by a situation or an event. Things like getting a bad grade on a test, finding out that a loved one is sick or hurt, discovering that your crush likes somebody else, finding out that you've been waiting online at Starbucks for 10 minutes and they're out of your favorite drink. All those things it makes sense to be unhappy or sad about. Usually doing something fun or enjoyable is enough to shift your mood so that you don't stay feeling sad all the time. Feeling depressed isn't necessarily caused by a specific event. Sometimes it just happens. It's unexplainable. And that's why it can be a little confusing. Though, of course, there are sometimes things that we call apparently irrelevant behaviors, or AIBs, that can influence the frequency, the intensity, or the length of time that we feel depressed. And those are things that a therapist can help you learn about in therapy. A common, apparently irrelevant behavior that may have an impact on the intensity or impact of your depressed mood is staying up late to do your homework. Now, of course, as a teenager, you have to balance your self-care with getting enough sleep and also getting all your schoolwork done. And sometimes that means staying up a little bit late so that you can get it done in time. Now, that in and of itself might not be the AIB or the apparently irrelevant behavior. But take, for example, if you are having to stay up and you're not used to staying up, so you have a cup of coffee at 8 p.m. so that you can stay up later to get that homework done. Now you've really affected your sleep, and so when you are trying to go to sleep, you just can't, or you're like wide awake and wired. So drinking coffee late at night may be an apparently irrelevant behavior that's impacting your depressed mood, because we know taking care of your self-care needs, like getting enough sleep, getting enough nutrition, impacts your mood. That's something that might not seem super connected but can have an impact. Sadness and depression can really make you feel lousy. It's probably safe to assume that you'd put it in the unpleasant category. And when we think that things are unpleasant to experience, we like to avoid them or to ignore them. Anything to avoid feeling unpleasant again. One of the key differences with sadness and feeling depressed is that when you feel sad, you still have some energy and motivation to make the changes to shift your mood. So you may feel motivated to, if you're feeling sad because you're feeling lonely, to reach out to a friend. You may want to distract yourself with a funny movie if you are really having sad thoughts on your mind. If you got a bad grade on a test and that's making you feel sad, you are feeling motivated to figure out a different study strategy. When you're feeling depressed, it can come with a feeling of emptiness and sometimes physical heaviness or exhaustion, where you just don't have motivation or energy to make those shifts. And that can actually make you feel even more helpless, which can make you feel really stuck. When you aren't able to do the things that you know would shift your mood, it's probably more depression than sadness. Another key difference is when you feel sad, you can still find joy and pleasure in things. You know what interests you. When you're depressed, things that you once found joy or pleasure in just aren't enjoyable anymore. You just aren't interested in those things anymore. Sadness is an emotional experience that's usually short term, so it can last from a few minutes to a few days, sometimes a week or more. Feeling depressed lasts a lot longer. It's a minimum of 2 weeks or more of that general feeling of emptiness, loneliness, deep, deep sadness, and disconnection. When you're sad, your appetite or your sleep may be affected a little bit, but you can usually make sure that you're eating enough, that you're getting enough sleep. With depression, it's usually coupled with a few other behavioral or lifestyle changes that aren't necessarily your choice. You physically just can't eat, or you are just hungry all the time. You just don't ever feel full. You have to sleep all the time because you're just so exhausted. Or on the flip side, you just can't fall asleep no matter how tired you are. You have so much energy that you're not sleeping. That's because your depressed mood is sending signals to your body and it's trying to re-regulate, but it's trying to overcompensate in ways that aren't healthy or helpful. If you're feeling a deep sadness or depressed mood and you're finding changes to your appetite, your sleep, your concentration, your relationships, please reach out to support today in your area because we are here to help. Make use of us. Now, with children and teenagers, there's another key distinction of what depression looks like. Most of us assume that when people are depressed, that they look sad, which is why sadness and depression tend to get confused and intermingled. But with children and teenagers, sometimes irritability or anger can actually indicate depression. And that's because anger is a protective emotion, and when we're feeling a deep, intense, uncomfortable emotion that's too strong for us to handle, it's easier for us to feel anger and express anger than to recognize and identify that deeper pain or hurt. And children and teenagers are still developing those aspects of their brain and their resiliency to know how to be comfortable with those feelings and express them in a way that's meaningful and effective. And if you're having issues with that, please reach out to a therapist. That's what we're here to help with. We love working with angry people, not because we love angry people, but because we know that anger is a sign that there's something else bubbling right under the surface, and we can help with that. Now, please do not mishear me. If you are doing things that are hurtful or harmful to yourself or others, that is not okay, and you need to get support for that. I'm telling you this so that you can have an explanation, not an excuse. We're still responsible for what we do and say, regardless if we have a good reason or not. When depression hits teenagers, it's also really common that they may start to have urges or thoughts to hurt or kill themselves. And if you are a teenager who is having any of these thoughts, I have a video for you on your screen right now, all about how you can reach out for support and help. You're not crazy, and there is help. And please make sure that you share this video because you never know who it could help. Thanks for watching.